Angels are speaking with us about communication and inspiration. These two things are not mutually exclusive, especially in the way Archangel Gabriel is tying them together. We, as light workers and highly sensitive people and spiritual people by nature, tend to work through a lot of issues. We tend to transmute a lot of energy, and we spend most of our lives trying to work through things that have happened earlier in our lives. And this is really incredible because sometimes we can heal really deep wounds along our genetic line. So there have been things that have been passed down for generations and generations that no longer serve. And we can actually heal them by doing the deep inner healing work on ourselves. Now, we spend so much time and energy focusing there that sometimes we forget all of the really beautiful and beneficial things that have come down along the genetic line with those other things. It is really important that we realize how necessary our physical enjoyment of this place is, while we are seeking and striving to connect spiritually, to connect upward to the heavens. The angels really want to remind us that it's important for us to experience things here. It's important for us to enjoy. And one of the biggest and best ways for us to truly do that, and to nurture ourselves through being on this planet, is to spend time doing the things that are cultural to us, doing those things that we've learned growing up that are part of our heritage and part of our culture, including ingesting the foods of our culture. Just imagine the healing effect that would happen in your emotional body if you walked into your house today and smelled your grandmother's recipe cooking. Even if you didn't necessarily like the food she was cooking, you would probably have a moment where you did something like this. And have a deeply, deeply nurturing experience just smelling the scent of your grandmother's cooking. And this is what things like ingesting the foods that are connected to our heritage do for us on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. And these are the things that are greatly overlooked by light workers in terms of readjusting your energy really quickly. So if we're feeling we need deep nurturing, going into that recipe book and creating a family recipe that we grew up with is a way of really bringing in deep nurturing. And if you want to nurture yourself even more, invite somebody over to share the food with. Experience this with somebody else. You can talk about the tradition and why this was important to you and how this food nurtured you growing up. So many light workers develop sensitivities, develop allergies, discover that the food they grew up with wasn't necessarily nurturing to them in a physical way, and they can't ingest them anymore. But the good news is that there are so many ways for us to account for that now that we can always find a workaround. We tend to overlook the simple things, the things that are deeply connected to who we are, because we spend so much time trying to grow and trying to evolve from the places where we see deficiencies, from the places where we see there could be improvements in our genetic line, and we want to move forward from there, that we overlook the things that deeply nourish us from the same place. And this is the time for us to come into balance, acknowledging that which needs to be healed, acknowledging that which needs to be moved and adjusted, while also acknowledging that which is deeply, deeply healing to us, that which has created us as who we are. We literally were built from the foods we ate as children. Our cells were built from all of those things. So going back and re-experiencing that and using those kinds of things to nourish us in moments where we feel that we're not nourishing ourselves enough, or the world isn't safe for us and we're not receiving what we need. Going back and creating that pie the way grandma did, or creating mom's sauce and smelling those scents. Remember, this experience that we're having on earth is absolutely more than our five senses. But it is really important for us as light workers to connect to those five senses, because we spend so much time trying to connect from the sixth sense up that we sometimes forget about how grounded we can be from the first 5. We forget about how connected we can stay when we use the first 5. And when we use those first 5 senses, we are more grounded in the present. We can acknowledge the beauty that is within us, as well as that which we want to grow from and change. Acknowledging the beauty is actually key to change, because if we're only looking at one side of things, it's a very short-sighted way for us to evolve. And we tend to look at the negative more than the positive, which is something that so many light workers don't want to do. We don't ever want to look at the negative unless it involves self-growth, and then we're okay with looking at all of the negative things about us. So the angels want us to bring this into balance and not to be afraid when we feel we need deep nourishing, to go back to the foods and experiences of our childhood and bring them into our bodies. It is actually physiologically necessary to eat the things we grew up on. So whether it was spaghetti or goulash or tacos or whatever came with your heritage in terms of what you ingested in your body, embrace the nourishing qualities of those foods. Change and adjust them now as you might feel would work better for you, but definitely know that the energy of those things will feed you on a level that is so much deeper than you could ever imagine. And this is not just true of foods. This is true of music, of dance, of all of the incredible things that came with your culture and your genetic line. Even if you were adopted, all of the things that you grew up with your family, your adoptive family, as well as the things that you've learned about through the culture that you were genetically born into. So you've got a double whammy of goodness. You've got all of the things that you grew up with, as well as all of the things that came in through your genetic line. And these are the things that will inspire us. These are the things that will help us to look deeper within and see the gold as well as the shadow. So we know where we can grow, and we know where growth already is, and we can draw from the energy there. And then we can also communicate back. We can communicate in all directions of time, as we as light workers know. But it's so helpful for us when we want to grow and evolve and change to be communicating also the things that we love and appreciate, those things we are sitting deeply in gratitude for. And these kinds of exercises help us to deepen into that even more. If you are feeling called to grow and deepen into your biology, to reset your whole entire body so that you can hold more energy, you can be more energetic, and you can feel even better in your physical body than you have in many, many years, then please consider joining us for our spring cleanse. It's happening in April from the 17th to the 30th. The link is in the description of this video, as well as in the comments section, so that you can read a little bit more about it. And if it calls to you, you can then schedule a 15-minute consultation with me so that we can talk about whether or not this cleanse is right for you at this time. I hope that you will consider joining the cleanse if you're feeling the need for deep nourishment and detox. And if not, I hope that I'll see you here again next week with growth and love to share. Much love, everybody.